Get out.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Freedom from Alcohol, where we help you get that freedom. And we don't throw around that word loosely because it really does feel like freedom when you don't have alcohol running your life anymore, like it used to run all of our lives. So my name is Chris Shattuck, along with Lauren Howman. What up, Lauren?
What's up?
Alcohol used to control your life too, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're getting into that today for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Used to call the
Mm-hmm.
shots, pun fully intended.
That
Heyo.
was good use of
Uh,
pun.
and
Ayo.
I'm all about the puns. You know, I'm a dad. I can't not tell dad jokes. So
Hold your
Right.
dad jokes.
I've been telling dad jokes since long before I was a dad. So and
Practice.
the other voice you hear there is Matt Gardner from Canada. Hey, how are you, Matt?
Hello, eh? Yeah,
Hey,
very good. Alcohol did in fact run my life as well, but now I'm run by good old H2O. Well, The Water Boys, one of
Yes.
my favorite
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, you know what? It is a good movie, and you always remind. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a drink of
Hey,
water right now.
there we go. Cheers, guys.
I definitely don't drink enough water, and
Mm.
it's like one of those things that I can tell myself all day long, and I get this giant jug, and it's like, okay, drink more water, drink more water. I
Yeah,
just don't do it. So this is a reminder, everybody, drink more
there we
water
go. Drink some
and
water.
drink less alcohol.
Yeah.
Or none at all, actually, is what we'd
Yeah.
prefer. So, if this is your first time listening, we appreciate you being here. We get into all sorts of stuff, and if you ever have a topic or something that you want us to cover, go ahead and let us know either in our Facebook group, which is the same name as the podcast, Freedom from Alcohol, or you can always email me. Email address is chris@coachbychris.com. And because, we want to know what you guys want us to talk about today, this is an interesting one. And it's one that I think a lot of people that are still drinking are in denial about, but it's the cost of drinking. Now, we're going to, of course, obviously talk about the monetary costs, but there's a lot of other costs that we got to factor in when we think about what is this costing us, when we think about physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all these other things that come with it. But let's start on the money part here, because I think people aren't honest about how much alcohol is actually costing them. You know, eh, I don't know about you guys. I was at like, I think I factored around $600 a month I was spending just on booze, and then my wife was spending another 300. So we were around $900 a month in our household on booze. What about you guys when you were drinkers?
for both of you, it was $900?
Yeah, yeah,
Lies.
yeah.
Ain't
I
no
think
way.
is that
Ain't
low? I don't
Wow.
know.
no- That's
Listen,
low.
Lauren just calls him out.
I
Yeah.
need you to get that calculator back out, friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Factoring
You
in
know what you
inflation.
included in yours, but mine was 840 a
Well, so
month.
I was that's just on buying the physical alcohol. That
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
all the other
Right.
ancillary stuff that comes along with
Donaires
it.
at
So
2
that was
a.m. and
literally just the money going to, Anheuser-Busch and all those people.
Okay. I got you. All
these
right. So
wonderful people.
Yeah.
mine was 840, but for the financial cost of what alcohol takes from us, which is actually the least of your concerns, really, when it comes to alcohol addiction and problem drinking, but mine was 840 and it did include things like what you said earlier, Chris, was could have gone to Applebee's and been totally stoked about that Jamocha milkshake and like a little ham and cheese melt, but I needed alcohol, so we would end up sitting down with a party of four, my husband and I and two kids, at Applebee's or somewhere that served alcohol because then I could drink while I ate. It was never about the Applebee's food. And so where let's say when they were younger, Arby's would have cost us $20 because it's really two adult meals and a couple of fries or something. Applebee's automatically $60. Then you add in the $9 glasses of wine, which I'm gonna have two or three. So my cost was is probably still 840, but I think that's still too low. So that's why I'm calling BS, because if there were two of you in the house and the story that I know of how you drank,
Oh, here
ain't
we
no
go.
way.
Here we
Ain't no
go.
way. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. It might be conservative. Like it's been a long time since I've actually crunched the numbers, but that's the numbers that I remember when I did it. Because over a 15-year drinking period, I remember it was between $90,000 and $100,000
Ooh.
just spent on alcohol. Now think about that. Think about that. If you were to invest that money over 15 years, you'd have millions of dollars.
Warren Buffett.
And yeah, it's so nuts, right? And we justify that money. Like we don't even think about it. We put everything else on the back burner. We're always able to afford the alcohol, no matter what, right? And
Yeah,
it's just
that's true.
it's nuts.
Yeah.
Matt, do you know how much you were spending when you were?
Yeah, I was in the same. I'm afraid to mention now because Lauren's gonna call me out.
Oh yeah,
No,
she's gonna yell at you.
It was in the same range. It was in the same range as Chris. So it was, $20 a day for a 6-pack was that's $600 just like that. And so I take some days off, some days on, and then of course going out. So I would say like going out for drinks on the weekend. So I was probably in that 700 range, and that's just like Chris, to your point, just alcohol. That's not the meals that came along with it and all that. And I imagine Darcy would be around the same. So we were probably in that like $1,400 range for years, back when we were making like $10 an hour. You know what I mean? And still finding, I don't know how the hell we did it, to be honest with you. It's pretty ridiculous when you think about it.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I mean, even just cutting out alcohol, right, is going to give you anywhere from what, $6,000 to $10,000 a year raise.
Yeah.
Right. And if somebody came up to you right now and was like, "Hey, do you want an extra $6,000 to $10,000 a year for doing nothing?" Sure, of course you're going to say yes.
I'd say yes. Yeah.
Like literally all you got to do is not drink, not keep giving your money to the big fat cat, big wigs at the alcohol companies. They don't need your money. They got plenty of it. Invest that money into yourself. And yeah, that's not even including all of the other costs that come with it. When you think about, all right, well, now I got to get an Uber or a Lyft or a taxi. Hopefully you're not driving, right? If you're being smart about it, that adds up. What about the door dashing, right? Like, okay, I'm just going to DoorDash some food, or you can have DoorDash liquor brought to you, or whatever delivery service, like all that stuff, right? And you're not making the best decisions when you're drinking. And I think about all the times when I would buy rounds of drinks for people, and the drunker I got, the more loose I was with my money. And yeah, go ahead. You look at your credit card statement. Yeah.
What money?
Right. And that's the thing that I want you to think about, because as drinkers, we will avoid that. We will not even think about how much money we're spending. Yeah, Lauren's doing the blinders thing right now, because it's like once we get honest with it, we go, oh shit, that's a lot of money that I could be either investing, going on a vacation, buying new furniture. I think of all the things that I always put off and didn't spend money on. Like, I'll give you a perfect example that I was thinking about. This weekend, I am flying to Minnesota for my nephew's graduation party. The flight was like $400 or whatever. And it's like, I'm so happy that I'm able to do that. This is where the freedom part comes in. I want to go do that because I love him. He's so, I want to be there for him. I could have said, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to, whatever. And he'll understand. But I'm like, no, I absolutely want to spend that $400 and go do it. Now, back when I was a drinker, shit, I wasn't spending money on things like flights or things like that. I would have been like, no, are you kidding? $400, I'm not doing that. So you get these things in your life back that you're not even really thinking about. And I think about how the economy is right now. Everything is more expensive. Everything, groceries, I mean, literally gas, everything, right? And so you want to sit and bitch about how things are more expensive, but then you'll still go and spend the money on the alcohol when you don't need it. That's poison. You're spending your hard-earned money on poison.
Yeah.
And if you could just get rid of that, if you didn't spend that money, think about what you could do with it. I mean, it's just nuts. Lauren, think about this, because nobody who quits drinking ever loses money. Everybody is gaining money, right? Because you're saving the money that you're not spending on alcohol, but your mind is clear, so then you can go and do things that you weren't doing before, maybe whether it's getting a promotion, like all the things, right? Like, since you've been a non-drinker, what does the money look like for you? Is that a good thing? I don't know what that sound was.
Can't tell. Can't tell what's
Am
going
I
on
going to
there.
be honest right now, or am I
Of
going
course.
to answer that
Of course.
everybody?
Always be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's money, I'm gonna spend it. But let's just say I have more fun money to spend, but it's all gone. It's always gone. Always
So
gone.
you're just bad financially in general, then, regardless of whether you're drinking or not. No, I'm kidding. That's what
I'm not. But I didn't actually see. So for somebody spending $840 a month, I never really saw like a big improvement there. But I will tell you that I was in debt. And when I stopped drinking, I got out of debt for the first time since I had children. So I was debt free until I had Cole. Cole's now 10. When it was time for Cameron to come along, there was IVF, and I didn't have the cash for the IVF. So that started the debt cycle. And then it just piled up, because if you didn't have enough money to pay the debt, and you still got to buy things. So we had debt again. When I quit drinking, within a year, my debt was paid off, all of it. And I think it was 25 grand that I paid off. And I
Wow.
don't know if it was because I mean, my job didn't start making more money. I think it was because I was able to show up differently. I was able to be more creative, but I was also better with my money. So even thinking the cost of drinking, like if you're not adding these weird things in, they've got to go in. I wrote some things down like, did you lose your keys? That shit cost a fortune to go get those replaced at the dealership. I've never had to do it personally, but I've heard stories.
Yeah.
Broken phones. Oh my God, do not break your iPhone, but you will. At some point, if you're drinking, somebody's broken their phone somewhere along the line. If you haven't, you're lucky. Ubers, DoorDash. What about the McDonald's I had to eat in the morning as a recovery item on my way to work? So the Coca-Cola had to be had. You know that McDonald's Coca-Cola is next level crack, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
With that
for sure.
ice, the way they do it.
Yep.
So every morning I was spending $3-4 at McDonald's to get like a sausage biscuit and a huge Coke because I needed sugar. I was dying. So you have to add in all of those things. But what I was going to say about the vacation thing that you just mentioned was Craig Beck says in his book, and by the way, if you're new here, we all love Craig Beck. Go pick up the book, Alcohol Lied to Me. It will blow your mind and it may help you get started on your journey. Seeing through the lies that alcohol tells you, kind of seeing through that bullshit will help you make better decisions about your alcohol use going forward. But anyway, he says when he was married, he was still a drinker. He was that fancy wine drinker that was buying the expensive stuff and they could never afford vacations.
Mm-hmm.
But his wine cellar was always stocked.
Yep.
And he was
Mhm.
drinking like upwards, I can't remember, I don't want to quote it, but he was drinking like more. He was costing a lot of money per day with his drinking. The exquisite, full-bodied whiskeys, not arrow, barrel aged for 4 years, blah, blah, blah. That was him. He was very like, ooh, fancy. But he couldn't take his kids on vacation. He wouldn't have spent $400 on what you're talking about. But $400 was being drinking, whatever, every 2 days. I don't remember, but it's just ridiculous. All the things that go into it. If you're a chick and you always take a jacket with you to the clubs, guess what? You're losing jackets. You're losing clothes. What else does it cost you other than finances? Promiscuity. I was just talking with another client about how alcohol makes us promiscuous and maybe we wouldn't have had sex with that person or, those types of things. And that's dangerous. What can it cost you? It can cost you an STD, potentially your life. And those are not decisions you would have made without the alcohol being present. Just in thinking like men or women, was a condom used? Do you know? Are you on birth control? All of these things that can impact us that if we were sober and we met a new dude, maybe we want to have sex and that's okay. There's no beef there. But if you're not even aware enough to protect yourself, that's a huge financial cost. You can go from $840 a month to like, how much does it cost to have and raise a baby, right?
Yeah.
Or medical treatment for any of the things that can be passed along to you through intercourse, those type of things. So there's just a lot that goes into it. And then my last thing I wrote down, because I take notes on everything so I don't forget, is Matt, I accept your estimate.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I was worried the whole time. I'm like, oh, did I slip that in there? Did I get it in? Okay, perfect. Okay. Feel much better now. Thank you. Yeah.
It's within the
Yeah.
window. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Great. Great.
There's so much. Like, what other ways do you guys notice, either through coaching your clients or like Matt? I want to hear from you. Like,
yeah.
The other.
I had a couple things that's more in like the macro scale, because we talked about obviously like the individual side of things. So just the things that always stood out to me when I'd done some research on this, I brought them up really quick. So, and this is a little bit older stat, but still, it said the United States, the cost of alcohol abuse is upwards of $250 billion. So that's, insurance claims, lost wages, hospital visits, everything, anything that you can imagine. $250 billion. That's pretty outrageous. There's another stat that recently came up that I posted on my Instagram at recoveryroadmap.me if you want to follow me. It's so in Canada, this is specific to Canada, but I imagine you could put it at a larger scale in the States and anywhere else really. So the Canadian government brought in $13 billion in tax revenue for alcohol, yet the social costs in Canada, it was 19 billion. So the 13 billion that could be going towards, like infrastructure and improvements to the Canadian society was actually turned around and completely negated, and then some by 6 billion. So 13 billion tax revenue profits, quote unquote, from alcohol that was negated by 19 billion for social costs. So to me, that's not good math,
Whiskey is.
So I wanted to throw that in there. I also wanted to put in
Yeah.
like the caloric cost, right? Because it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
all these empty calories. I have a tracker that has not only the money that's saved, but the calories saved. And somebody like I posted it one time on like in a month, I saved this in calories. And then, you know, the trolls come on and go, well, how much are you fucking drinking? I'm like, it's not even that much, man. That's like a 6-pack a day. And it was
Right.
like 30,000 calories for the month. They're like, whoa, 30,000, you must be the fucking drink. I'm like, you're probably doing the same thing, bud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that sort of thing too, right? There is a lot of costs, and I like those, you know, metrics and being able to look at that. But dude, like $250 billion for just cost of alcohol abuse is pretty freaking outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's just it's nuts. And I never did this, but I know some people do. Like they do the Amazon shopping when they're drunk, and they'll spend a shit ton of money like online shopping. Oh
Yeah.
my God! Like think about there's all these things that come into play, and then we have a module for our clients that we have them go through and figure out the cost of it. And so we figured out like if you drank over the course of 40 years, right, and the money that you're spending on alcohol, and then the money that you're missing out on by either not going up level at work or starting a business or making as much money as you could if you were alcohol free and had a clear head, and you think about things like possibly getting a DUI, like what that is going to cost, going
Hmm.
through a divorce because you keep drinking and your spouse leaves you, medical costs, like all these things, and it's $1.2 million that you are either spending or missing out on over 40 years. That number is insane to me.
Yeah, that is.
$1.2 million. And so it is important to look at the monetary side of this thing because it's stupid. It's really stupid. You're
Mhm.
spending money on poison. It's not going down in price. Like it's going to keep going up. And, so that's important to look at that because that might be a motivating factor. But usually, if we're being honest, that's not the motivating factor to get people to stop drinking, right? Because we'll
Right.
keep racking up credit card debt if we need to get us that drink. So you really have to think about what else is it costing you to not take action and stop drinking at this point, right? It's
For
and
sure.
the biggest thing that I always emphasize is the time aspect because you can't get that back. You can get more money back. You can always make more money. You can hopefully get some of your health back, and maybe all of it will come, right? You can rebuild relationships. You can go and create a new chapter in your life of whatever you want to do. But that time that you're pissing away by being drunk with loved ones or whatever it is that you want to do, time is passing you by and you can't get that back. So when we talk about the cost of drinking, I don't want the focus just to be on money, 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 money. While
Yeah.
that is important, it's all these other things. I mean, i- there's so many things that it costs you to not do anything about this.
Hmm.
I want to add to
Definitely.
the health combo if I can for a second here. While you were talking, Matt, about the caloric intake, I had to look up the red wine because I was allotted one bottle of red wine a day, and it was usually Cabernet or Merlot, but it's coming in at 600 calories per bottle, which we all know I was putting that whole bottle down,
Hmm.
sometimes two. And then I was following it with spirits that I was, stashing around the house that I
Hmm.
could hide. So, ladies, we don't get very many calories anyway because of the way our metabolisms work. So if you're able to eat 2,000 calories a day and maintain the size body that you want, you're actually doing really, really great. To add 600 calories in for, if we're just saying 2,000 is the standard, you just went 25% over. And if
Right.
you do the math, there is math on weight gain. Not all calories are the same, and I'm not like an expert in nutrition, but I am a person who's had to diet a million times, all that. And if we're not putting that in, it becomes so much easier to control the other things that we're putting in that I would say 90% of our clients, and of course I just make these percentages up, there is no math on this. They're losing weight without trying in the beginning, but
Yeah.
there's so many health ramifications. Like, I have some clients that would beat themselves up to the point where they would go to the gym the next day, even if they were like dying of a hangover. I was never that person. I could not work out if I was also
Yeah.
hungover, and I wouldn't
No.
make myself. But once I stopped drinking, I started working out and finding something I enjoyed. I now had time for it because it wasn't going to interrupt my drinking time. So my health started to skyrocket. I'd already lost a bunch of weight before I quit drinking, but when I quit drinking, I was able to let go of like that last 30 pounds that I just could not get rid of. Um, and so that was absolutely amazing. But what's going on with, the world? If you're looking at that number, Matt, you said 13 billion. in healthcare in Canada is being allocated towards
And that
alcohol.
was 13 billion in profits that turned into 19 billion in social cost.
Okay, the social cost is $19 billion. Okay, if we take alcohol out, everybody's health gets better. So
Mhm.
every system, by the way, I'm on TikTok and I went through a series of the systems in your body and what alcohol does to affect it. It affects everything. It affects our eyes. It affects our nerves. We can end up with neuropathies. It obviously affects the liver, the pancreas, the cancer rates on people who drink, female cancers, male cancers. It's all linked up. So it's not about, and I would say that when people are coming to us, if they have a health scare, that's a hell of a motivator, way more so than money, because money can come back. Money can come back. But if we trash our pancreas, we're kind of screwed.
Right.
So, and why would we do that? Because it's addictive, guys. It's not your fault, but we are in charge of fixing it now. So if you're experiencing all these things, guess what? If you decide to quit drinking, you can hire a coach, and that's what we do here. So Chris, Lauren, Matt, you can find us. But if you want to see that series on all the things I went through, like eyes, ears, like who would think your hearing could be affected by alcohol use? What? It can be.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
I went through all the systems, female problems, all this infertility shit that we've all been through. A lot of people have been through. Alcohol.
I mean, at the end of the day, all we would have to do is say, look, quitting alcohol is the biggest life hack there is. And it's so true, right? Because it's gonna, if it's not directly affecting certain things, it's gonna help you in all these other areas. So yeah, what I would say is to
hey, let's
write.
talk. Wait, hold on. I got one more.
Okay.
This is a male thing. When we talk about health, what would be a good motivator for a man?
You're talking boners, aren't you?
Huh?
She's always
Are you talking about boners?
I am not always talking about that, okay?
Boners are on
we
her
knew it was
mind
coming.
24/7.
We knew it was coming, right?
I'm in this.
Slide that in at the end, right?
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah. Isn't that a great reason to quit? Isn't that a great reason to quit? Because after you've been drinking for a certain amount of time, most men are having problems in the bedroom, and that's not a place you want to be. So there's so many things with health. And the last thing I'm going to say real quick, because I know I've kind of like whoop today, I made myself sound really financially irresponsible. But what happens is, what has happened was that I save my money and then I do a big project. So like I'll save my money and then we'll get the roof replaced. Save the money and now I'm opening up a nurse practitioner business, right? Like,
yeah, you're making moves is
yeah,
the
that's
thing.
it.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
wanted
difference.
to make sure y'all didn't think I was just over here like being careless, because that's not what it is.
We were totally judging you. Yeah.
Yeah, like I wrote some notes on it.
Oh gosh, I love it.
I think I'm gonna register. I'm gonna see if we can get the domain getyourbonersback.com, because I think that's important. You know, if you want to get your boners back,
getyourbonerback.com. Yeah. And then it'll come right to you, Chris.
Yes. I've been told I look like a boner before. So anyway.
Well, there we go. Boners attract boners.
Do you want a stiff one or do you want a stiff one? I can't do it.
Hold on. Get your boners back. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna do a live check here. Get your boners.
Do it, because otherwise somebody's gonna take that.
Better boner.
There's got to be
look
an
at
ED.
this.
There's got to be an
open.
ED medication. No, it's open.
No,
all right,
it's apparently it's open, so we're good. Getyourbonersback.com.
All right.
All right.
Once again, we took it too far.
Yeah. I don't even know how we got to boners, but here we are.
No, it's a men's health issue.
No, yeah, it is. But because a lot of guys drink because they go, they think it helps them in that area, but it's not really, right. You know, the whole whiskey dick sort of situation.
It's not a good scene.
Yeah. But that's a whole nother topic we could get into. But anyway, what I would suggest is taking out a piece of paper and writing down, just drawing a giant boner. No, writing down what is alcohol costing me, and put down the monetary things and be honest about it. Don't cut, just be honest about that shit. And not just with the alcohol, but everything else that comes along with it. And then also write down what else it's costing you, non-monetary, right? Time, health, physically, time with, relationships, like everything.
Boners.
And boners. Yeah. Write it all down. And then look at that and go, do I want to keep drinking and spending my money and throwing all this away just to get a 15, 20-minute buzz? Like, is it worth it? And then call us, because we'll help you get your boners back and get you some money back, right? So
absolutely.
You can go to getoverdrinking.com, which will bring you to the website, and you can check out.
He's so red right now.
Got me
So ready
flustered. I
is.
don't even know.
Yeah.
No, but go.
Flummoxed.
I'm trying to tell people how they can get to us because we do. We coach people. We help you get over alcohol, lose the desire for it. That's the important thing, and then go have a great life with all the boners you'd ever desire and
right.
all the money you'd ever want and whatever it is that you want. So go to getoverdrinking.com. You can book a call with me, and we'll see if we're a good fit. Am I missing anything that you guys need to add?
We might have just killed the whole program.
Yeah.
No,
Good.
this is
We should have
this is
started
real
with
life.
the boners. I think that would have been a good way to.
No,
Maybe that
you
should be
know
the
what?
title of it.
Yeah.
I think that the more real we are and the more authentic we are, we attract the people who need us the most. So
Mhm.
there you go. Hit
That's
us up
right.
if you're not scared to talk about the tough things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you want to
because it
joke
is.
about boners every once in a while,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's your life.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what we talk about here. So, if you are interested, please get in touch with us. And if you like the podcast, let us know. Like, give us a
Yeah.
5-star review. Write something.
Absolutely.
So that more people hear this and get pushed out to them. So, all right, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Peace. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week on Freedom from Alcohol.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.